Hello and welcome to episode 1019 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. At this rate, we're going to have more episodes than there have been years since is it the birth of Christ or the death of Christ? I forget what the changeover was. Anyway, yeah. Anno Domino. I'm a lapsed Christian. Yeah.
Not my expertise. We need Ty.
No. Yeah. Oh, really? There you go.
He would tell us. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm your host, Greg Stewart. Not with me as always this week is Chris Johnston. He is, depending on the hour, he's either traveling or down with some kind of sickness. The last few weeks have just been like a journey of CJ's health problems.
Oh no.
Yeah, the most recent of which. So he was talking last week about food poisoning, and this week he said, "Oh, and I have strep throat as well." So, but he still got on a plane and went to Southern California.
Oh my gosh!
Because Tetris gonna Tetris. So, anyway, CJ's not with us this week, but I have someone better.
Knock off CJ.
That's right, Timu CJ, joining me from the You're not the Player One podcast, from the Fun Factor podcast, where it's two games journalists review old video game magazine reviews. Great show, by the way. Go check it out. I have Aidan with me here. Hi, Aidan.
Hey, it's good to be back. You had me on the show with CJ not long after the show premiered last year, so it's always good to be back. And of course, you were on a recent bonus episode of Fun Factor talking about the Sega Saturn launch. So it's nice to see you again.
Yeah, the almost lost.
That was
Sega Saturn launch episode.
Yeah.
I was so glad one of the four of us had the wherewithal to record a backup.
Yeah, so we didn't record the episode. We do it in Riverside, and at the end, Ty hit record to stop the recording, and it said 3, 2, 1. We're like, uh-oh. But then one of our other guests, Pandemonium, was fortunately doing a backup screen grab, so we salvaged it. And I was doing a lot of like on YouTube, like cutting over gameplay footage when he was like flipping around between windows and stuff. But there's a funny clip right at the beginning of the episode where he's like, "Oh yeah, I always get a screen cap in case everything goes catastrophically wrong." Yes, and it saved that episode. It would have been toast without it. But
which I was really happy about, because I mean, it was a great conversation, sort of Pandemonium and I have been sort of circling each other for a while. He of course does an incredible Cron gaming series, although I don't even know if you can even call it that at this point. He's turned into just these amazing long form documentaries about Sega Saturn stuff.
And like when you say long, you mean 8 hours.
Yeah, like the most recent one being like an 8-hour documentary about digital pictures, which is I'm only 2 hours into it, but it's fantastic.
Only 2 hours into it.
Yeah,
that's a whole like feature length.
Yeah. And I mean, he previously did some great stuff on Corpse Killer. He previously did some great stuff on Sega Rally and Virtual Cop. And so highly recommend that channel.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. And highly recommend Fun Factor as well.
Thank you. I think it's okay. It's pretty good.
I enjoy it. So CJ's not with us this week. We may, I don't know, maybe your other half there, Ty, might show up later, but we don't know. But
he might. It's his, he's got some family stuff going on, positive, good family stuff, but busy weekend for him, or he died. I don't know which.
I hope it's
one of the two. We are old.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday was my daughter's birthday, but I made sure she scheduled her party before we recorded. So, I mean, some of us suffer for our art.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Some of us don't, clearly.
Some children sacrifice for their parents. Some don't.
Right. Some it's the other way around. All right. So lots happening this week. Were you, so, I mean, we were chatting a tiny bit about this before we started the show, and you were talking about how you don't really want to get pigeonholed as just the retro game guy. Yeah. So I assume that means that you've been enjoying E3 2026, or
once Nintendo does their direct, then that's when I'll really key in. I find a lot of I loved E3. I lived for E3.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I never went, but like just coverage, like big one up, not their E3 like podcast specials. Like I lived for this time in gaming. I'm finding that like it getting placed replaced with Summer Game Fest and, publisher directs and stuff. Like, it's fine.
Mhm.
They sort of replicate the feel of the presentations, the big presentations they'd give, but they're also on at random times, like in the middle of the
Yeah.
day. They're always East Coast focused, so it's hard. I don't know. It's just hard. And then often, like, I just don't care about a lot of the games that get like the major focus at a lot of these events outside of Nintendo, outside of
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Revelation getting revealed at the end of Summer Game Fest yesterday. But yeah, it doesn't hit the same way it used to.
No, it doesn't. I agree with you. I mean, it's funny because we tend to we being the Player One community tend to live snark a lot of these presentations on our Discord, which you might have the same thing going on over at Fun Factor as well.
Yeah.
And Jeff Keighley in particular does receive a lot of guff from our community. But I was sitting there as I was watching through. I didn't watch through all of Summer Games Fest because it was a long show.
Yeah,
and I honestly turned it on just in time to see Final Fantasy when it was actually live.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there thinking, like, if it wasn't for him doing Summer Games Fest, there wouldn't even be a shred of E3 left.
No. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would be gone. And I think that, like, what we've just really seen is that, like, E3 was fascinating for me as like a fan back 15, 20, 25 years ago, because it was a press event that, like, then the media sort of brought to readers, right, of magazines, or if you're watching One Up, they were doing like video footage or podcasts or whatever.
Right.
And so it felt like this opportunity to get like a peek behind the scenes, like you have an in. Whereas now publishers can just go direct to consumers, right? They can just bypass media. And so Jeff is sort of in this, like, he's it's an advertorial, like,
oh sure,
right? It's a bunch of ads. And the Game Awards is the same way. And the trailers are up online instantaneously in 4K the second they get it announced. So it's like that sort of like feeling of it being special. I can't bring I can't bring the issue of my magazine that only I have to my class the next day. Be like, look, they announced this, they announced that. And it just feels very much like games publishing and PR and stuff are just like going, just like they can just do their messaging themselves. And I saw this happen. Like, my background is in book criticism, and I was a book blogger for a long time, a book reviewer for a long time. And I just watched it happen in real time, that like the publishers were like, oh, we don't have to seed online marketing to bloggers.
Right.
We can just do it ourselves. Yeah. We can just go straight to like the big, huge media sites. So instead of like cover reveals, like one of the things I did as a blogger was I was always scraping databases for like cover art for games or books before it was officially revealed, and I, leak it and stuff like that. But then publishers were like, oh, I can just send this to IO9 and they'll post it up. And so it was like kind of cutting out that middleman. And then, as that progressed, now they can just do it through Instagram. They can do it through partnerships with influencers and stuff like that. And it just like, you just don't need that media arm to cover it in the same way. But we miss out because that coverage isn't happening in a way that's done by sort of like an impartial, like, middle person, I think.
Well, that's just it. And it's less organic. And I mean, through the years with E3, you're absolutely right. I remember the first time I ever saw the N64 controller.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of the N64 controller. It was off of Usenet. Like, somebody found it on Usenet. Somebody who was at E3 that year, I think, or maybe it was a Shoshinkai or something like that. Yeah. But either way, this was back when the internet was, you were getting like low res JPEGs at best a lot of the time. And, but there was just something, I don't know, there was almost something about the hunt. And we've definitely lost that. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I find, like, again, I don't think the stuff that Jeff does is perfect, but again, having the audience to me is a huge piece of it. Yeah. Because that's how E3 press conferences used to be, right? There was pageantry. It was silly a lot of the time, but you had these moments that we're not going to get anymore, especially when you're looking at like state. And I love that we get state of play and we get the Nintendo Directs and all that stuff. Like, it's better than not getting it, for sure. Sure. But, like, I'm thinking back to like Nintendo E3 presser where they introduced that Wii Music game, and you had that dude with the crazy hair doing the drumming. You know what I mean? Or like the first time they showed Assassin's Creed and they're live demoing it, and the lead character falls over and dies in midair. Like, there's just those moments that you're never going to get because it's so supremely curated at this point.
Yes, 100%.
Like you're losing the personality of it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, how many and like publishers don't like this, but how many of our like memories of stuff like E3 are like defined by like the hit his weak spot for massive damage, right, or please clap, or the PS3 price point, like all of those, like, and like I get why publishers and PR don't care for those.
Oh, absolutely, they don't have the control over it.
But like they do create a sense of separation between the publishers and the consumers that I think is really important, and being able to sit and laugh in the audience for something funny like that. Or have an audience that's erupting in cheers when Final Fantasy VII remake gets announced or whatever, or like when they did that tech demo of Final Fantasy VII, and everyone thought, because there was no context, everyone thought very briefly that it was getting remade way back on the PS3 or whatever. And I think that like we just lose things when we use the computer to replace like the social elements of communication and community in this industry.
Absolutely. Like I forget the Sony exec, but when he was showing off the PlayStation 1 games on PSP, and he did the Ridge Racer. Or Geronimo, was this Geronimo Barrera with the Xbox? You want to see the bottom of an avatar's foot? Like, all that stuff is just, it's all lost to time, right? And we're not getting that anymore. So so Jeff brings a little bit of that possibility to it. I think that potential is there. And even like you said, being able to hear the crowd, like when they showed, and we'll talk about this, but when they showed Resident Evil Veronica, and when the crowd realized what they were watching, you heard them swell. And it's like, this is what I miss.
And like, you can't pay for that, right? You can't like, and that's what you're saying, like through a director or whatever, a publisher showcase, like you can't pay for that hush of anticipation and realization. And like, they have the goofy stuff that we all laugh at, but you also have that swell of emotion that you just can't make up for. And like, I haven't, as a Canadian games journalist, like I don't travel, I don't get to do in-person events. Like that's something that is just out of reach cost-wise most of the time for me. But being able to watch something like E3 or watch, like people who are just genuinely excited about this stuff get excited about this. There's the silly meme of like those guys sitting on the couch and they're all bored, and then they like
the giant bomb thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Like I don't know that part. I think gaming
Game Informer, but
gaming is just so. I think the social element of it is just so intrinsically tied to what video games are as a community that like foregoing that is like during the pandemic when you were having basketball games and hockey games with like nobody in the crowd, and it just wasn't quite the same.
You know what? That's a great example. That is exactly what I'm talking about. And so I think Nintendo created the direct idea, right? Or at least popularized it within this space, but they've always at least put their people like front and center, right? They've always centered it on people. Whereas I watch a lot of these trailers or a lot of these presentations, and sure, they might get some guy, in a racist hat to come out on stage and like gas up his game or whatever. But like people like aren't good. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. It just feels very contrived and artificial now in a way that it just didn't. And Nintendo at least puts a focus on the people making the games in the direct. They get, the Japanese team out doing voiceover instead of Matt Mercer or whatever. Doing the Final Fantasy VII voiceover. And I just think that really counts for something if your only option is kind of digital. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, again, you're reminding me of another great thing is when like we all first learned who Bill Trinan was. Because he was at Miyamoto's right hand out there translating for us, and he became sort of one of the people you recognized and you look forward to seeing. And so I will say though, what you're talking about, they do, and I think this is actually an advantage of this format. And I'm thinking of Day of the Devs, which we're not going to get too heavy into, although, oh my God, it was just overrun with Canadian developers this year. but they actually Day of the Devs, they went out of their way to put pretty much every one of those people, or at least the primaries, on screen talking about their games, which we're talking about indie developers, and a lot of those people would not have been able to eat the cost of flying to like an E3 to do this sort of thing,
demo
right?
there.
So I mean,
that's tucked in a small hall somewhere if they could afford it.
Right.
And that's like that's the double-edged sword of the internet as a communication tool, right? Like it opens opportunities for small voices, but it also creates like mass opportunity for exploitation by the big money like voices, right? And so it's like we're seeing that come to a head, that like the internet has been so valuable for grassroots organization, for protest, for, you know, indie game developers just being able to talk about their game. But we have also seen it get eaten up by the big corporations, and it's like it's tough. So, you know, double-edged sword for sure. Because like I love, like there was the Cozy Games one that they do sometimes, Day of the Devs. Those are fabulous. Love those. Because like you say, they provide opportunity for people who wouldn't necessarily be able to get in front of eyeballs as easily. And stuff like, you know, the Steam demo fest. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I forget what that's called too.
Incredible idea, right? That leverages what we can do digitally in a way that's way more interesting than like directs or whatever. Like if you want to get people talking about your games, like get them on stage, like let's make this a spectacle, make me feel like I'm excited about it in the same way that sports makes me excited about what's happening.
Sure. But again, I keep flip-flopping on this, but I also absolutely miss having to either sift through magazines. As far as gameplay goes, getting a direct feed of new games is fantastic. But like there was something so visceral about an off-screen handy cam at the show, looking at that and trying to pick it apart. You know, or I think back even further to magazines. I remember a friend of mine and I who were just big Sega heads when Street Fighter 2 was coming to the Genesis, and Game Fan in particular, because they were known for their wonderful screenshots, ran a ton of screenshots of earlier builds of the game. And he and I remember sitting there and scrutinizing everything about those screenshots, right? And we don't do that anymore because you've got full 1080p or 4K video of the game in progress the moment it's announced, right? So
and it's also filtered. Sorry, I'm just messing with lights. I feel like I'm really blue. You're also
don't be sad.
I think one thing that's important too is sort of the perspective that news is filtered through. When your first point of contact with new news, whether that's like, you know, the Switch 2 getting shown off or a new game being announced, if it's like this big, like heavily polished message from the publisher that wants you to feel a very specific way, that's very different than a games writer who you really trust because you've been reading their work forever, giving you that same news, but with context that probably aligns better with your own personal experiences than whatever the corporate kind of marketing arm is trying to sell. And again, double-edged sword, because we've seen the way that, like, you know, influencer culture has had such negative effects on so much out there because you pay people to say good things or bad things or whatever, and their audience just eats it up. And that's not necessarily better. But when you have like the core principles of like good, healthy, strong journalism applied to something, then, you know, that becomes a trusted source to like share that news in a way that provides the context you need to understand it.
Yeah, exactly. I have lots of thoughts about influencer culture and the lack of transparency in influencer culture. It's funny because the things that everybody used to complain about with games journalism, whether it was true or not, is absolutely true in the influencer sphere. Anyway,
that stood out to me a lot. Like I look at what's happening now and I'm like, you know, there weren't Yeah. Anyway, whole other episode, I think. Yeah, for sure.
So we're in the middle of, what we're lovingly referring to as E3 2026, and that it absolutely comes from the Player One Podcast Discord. We have a channel in there called E3 2026 where we're talking about these. And so far there have been, I think, 3 major showcases. There was the PlayStation State of Play.
Yeah.
There was Summer Games Fest yesterday, along with Day of the Devs. We are recording this before the Xbox event, which I believe is tomorrow, Sunday, as of this recording, the 7th.
How do they even?
I don't know.
Like, not that they won't have stuff in the cooker, but like their direction is changing so heavily. Like they must be scrambling.
I can imagine they are. Yeah, it's amazing to me. I think not since the Genesis transition to the Saturn have we seen console manufacturers squander consumer goodwill the way the Xbox brand has squandered consumer goodwill. Although they've done this really slow, inexorable death.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like that brand is dead or anything like that, but my God, like when you think about they were like all conquering with the 360.
Yeah.
And just made that one bad step at the launch of the One that they've just never really recovered from.
Yeah, and I mean all of the major console manufacturers, Nintendo, Sony, Sega, Microsoft, they all have their ups and downs, right? Like Nintendo went through the Wii U period, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the GameCube period. Sony had the PlayStation 3 and they bounced back with the PS4 because they were learning from those mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Microsoft just doesn't feel like it can really like turn out of the tailspin. I mean, like, I think everything went wrong when they started naming their new consoles what they named them. Like, like I'm a games journalist. I couldn't tell you which consoles were which, especially like between the Xbox One and the Series X and the, like I kind of vaguely understand the Xbox Series stuff, but only because I watch a lot of content. Like I can't even imagine somebody going in blind to try to buy an Xbox and be like, whoa.
It's interesting, right? Because like when you look at Nintendo's the brand.
Yes.
Right. And you look at the PlayStation, and PlayStation is the brand. Xbox is the brand, but they were in an unenviable position where they came along when Sony was already on PlayStation 2. And I understand why they went with Xbox One, because they couldn't go with Xbox 2. And I remember talking to somebody who was involved, because at the time, at the launch of the Xbox One, I was actually working for Frontier Studios, and we were working on a oh my God, what is their AR goggles? What are they called? Anyway, Microsoft has a set of AR goggles that are on the market. They were coming, HoloLens.
Oh, yes.
We were working on a HoloLens game that we never finished. It did eventually come out, but we didn't finish it.
Yeah.
So we just happened to have our producers from Microsoft in the office the week that they launched the One. Or they unveiled the One. And I remember chatting with one of them the next day talking about the name, and they said, well, we couldn't call it the Xbox 2 because we're going to be in the market against the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
And I remember I've
heard that
superior
story as well. Yeah.
Right? So,
but like One is still less than 3.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I feel like it definitely showed a lack of awareness, because I mean, almost everybody I knew was calling the original PlayStation the PlayStation 1 at that
absolutely
point.
As soon as the PS2 came out, the original became the PlayStation 1.
Right.
And they released a console called the PS1.
Yeah.
And so my professional background is also in like, I worked for a creative agency for a long time. We did a lot of branding work, and it's just like it's like a company that's too big to really understand what they're like, just too far up their own ass to really understand how to connect with real people. And that's always sort of been Microsoft's thing. Like there's no emotional connection with Microsoft in a way that like Apple has managed to, like, I think for people build an emotional connection on a marketing level, brand level. Linux does a better job, I think, than Microsoft does with Windows.
But the infuriating thing is that Microsoft did a great job at that with the first 2 Xboxes. You know what I mean? Like
I
they
don't
managed
know.
to, with
Like,
the first Xbox, they managed to somehow, which is amazing to me looking back on it, but being part of the games press at the time, they managed to sell themselves as an underdog. Microsoft was the underdog, right? It's like,
sure.
when you think about it, that's ridiculous. But because they put that team in place and they focused on the Xbox brand and not the fact that it was Microsoft.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing like with the 360. When you think about the failure rate on the 360 hardware was catastrophic. I mean, it was terrible,
like,
right? I don't know anyone who didn't have at least one. I know a lot of people who had two systems die on them. And somehow they turned it into
I still have my
positive
original launch system.
I don't know how you did that.
Or not launch, I guess.
Ever
I
play
can't
the
remember
thing?
when I bought it. But, no, I've played a lot. It was my main console during that period.
You were lucky.
Yeah. But like, I think one thing too, though, is they had a blueprint that they could have copied off Sony to enter into the market, which was like being really aggressive, opening the door for like anyone and anything that wanted to make something interesting on their console and come in at prices that the competitors couldn't compete with, right?
Yep.
Like PlayStation games were so cheap. You wouldn't have got the games that you got, like Xenogears getting released. Never would have happened if Sony tried to be Nintendo. But Xbox came in trying to be like a consoleized PC without really like an identity. And I don't think like even now, like, can anyone tell me what an Xbox game is? Like,
no,
what
I think
makes an Xbox game, right?
I think
like,
their most recent and probably biggest misstep was the Xbox Everything's an Xbox campaign. I mean, I was so happy when they finally killed that campaign.
It was insane. And
it was the most confusing thing since the Wii U.
Yeah. And because nobody really knows what it means to be an Xbox. Like, and so I just think that they were so big that they were refusing for a long time to to make up for the mistakes that they made in the past or be agile enough. Now, with the new executive team coming in, are they going to, like, maybe they're saying the right things for the most part right now, but still, like, what does that mean? Like, the by far the most interesting thing for me Xbox has ever done was Xbox Live Arcade, and they're focused on indies and giving like room and space for smaller games that didn't have a chance on the PS3 or Nintendo's consoles. And that's very similar to what PlayStation was doing, but that was with the 360. And like, get back to that. And then, Microsoft has always dabbled. They gave room for stuff like Pentiment or Hi-Fi Rush, like all of those like kind of odd games. Creating space for those still, which I think is great. But you need to like really, I think, lean into that. Like, when I'm sitting back without having an Xbox since the 360, and like and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I really want an Xbox to play Pentiment, like a $20 like narrative game that would probably run on like anything in my house, my old Amazon Fire tablet. I think that there's just sort of like an identity issue there. Like, are you the indie console with like a ton of amazing indie games, or that's tapping into the resources that like Sony and Nintendo are leaving behind? Or are you going to be like a Temu computer and just provide like subpar PC experiences for people who can't afford a full PC? Like, just pick a lane. But like,
I think that's the problem, is they haven't. And kind of what you're talking about there, we were talking about them doing something like it's sort of these interesting games. I don't think Microsoft's alone in this. We've seen other major publishers dabble with that too. But I mean, I find they always get cold feet. Electronic Arts did this multiple times, where it's like, we're going to make games for gamers again. Like, we're going to be all about the gamers. And I think we got stuff like Dead Space out of that. And, like, there were a couple big games that we got out of that. But then, after a while, those games get expensive. The bottom line wasn't where it should be. And somebody else maybe gets in power. And we get, oh, well, maybe we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We have shareholders to keep happy. I mean, at the end of the day, we have shareholders to keep happy. So, But anyway, So, the Microsoft thing hasn't happened yet. The Nintendo Direct hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
But we have.
So, like, what are we going to get at Microsoft? Like, Halo
I have
remake.
no idea. Yeah, I have no idea. Because I'm the same way. I was a big fan of the original Xbox.
Yeah.
played it much more than I not more than my PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2 was in its own league, but played it much more than my GameCube for the most part.
Yeah.
Big fan of the Xbox 360. For the first 2/3 of that generation, I played everything on my 360. Multi-platform games, especially because it became the base platform. And speaking as someone who moved into game development around that time, you know, you made your games for the 360, and then you made them work on the PlayStation 3.
Right.
Like,
okay.
you ported them. Near the end of that era, though, I had switched over to PlayStation 3 and haven't really looked back. I've had, you know, the X. I don't even know all the names of the systems anymore. The Series X, the whatever came after I had the Xbox One. I have the Series X. I think those are the only two, right? Was there another one? Yeah.
No, there's like sub versions of all of those. But
I haven't. I don't play it. I don't play it very often anymore. But we did get. I'll tell you what we did learn this week is that we all need to take 8 weeks off.
I could use that.
At the end of August through to the beginning of October. Because, oh my God, everything's coming out.
Yeah.
September and October this year. It's insane.
Yeah.
So we got the PlayStation State of Play. Did you end up watching any of this?
I mean, I picked and chose the trailers afterwards, rather than watching it live. But
what stood out for you?
Well, part of the problem is, let me just look up what was announced there. It's hard for me to remember like which was which, which was announced where. So
that's okay. We can talk about Summer Games Fest as well if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, God of War looked cool. I like the idea of it.
Laufey,
I'm far more interested in it. So I got a PlayStation 5, and the first game I played on it was the original God of War, or like the 2018 God of War or whatever. And I really liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I like, what is it, Laufey?
Yep, Laufey.
Yeah.
Yep. I think is how you say it.
Far more interesting to me than what we saw with Ragnarok. Like, I never got around to playing Ragnarok, even though I got it with my PlayStation 5. And so all of a sudden I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, actually. I think like switching away from Kratos, he surprised me in God of War 2018. But at the same time, like, I think this idea of like his wife, Atreyu?
Atreyu's the son. Yeah, I believe.
Yeah,
so.
like,
is that his name?
Sort of, that's a band. Is it?
It's also from the Neverending Story.
Atreyu.
Anyway, yeah. Somebody in the chat will correct us.
Somebody will let us. Atreus.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. So in any case, I think it looks cool. I think it looks good, and I like this idea that like this sort of like almost mythical character at this point is now going to become like the sole focus of the game. I like the gameplay tweaks that are bringing it maybe a little closer to the roots of the original like action games. Looks cool. That was the big standout for me, I think, from that presentation.
Me too. And I'm the same as you. I was a big fan of the original God of War series. Big fan.
Yeah.
Of especially the gameplay. And while I did play through God of War 2018, I did get a little bit bored by it at the end.
Yeah.
And I finished it right around the time Ragnarok came out. So I never actually
that was it for me. Yeah. I would have had to go back to back, and I just was not interested in doing that.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that when this trailer started and I was watching it play, I'm looking at the character model and I'm like, man, she looks familiar. I didn't realize that it was Deborah Ann Wall who was playing Laufey. Who I'm a huge fan of the Daredevil Netflix and Marvel series. So big fan of hers as well. That's where I know her from. It's like, man, Laufey really looks like Karen Page. But I do love that because, I can only guess Ragnarok's the same way. God of War 2018 was serious as a heart attack. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
There was nothing tongue in cheek about anything in that game.
Yeah.
So the fact that her companion is a gelatinous cube, right off the bat, I'm like, I'm already more interested in this.
Yeah, 100%. And it kind of gives you a sense of who she is versus Kratos. Kratos is like, so high on his own farts about his like traumas, which like fair enough. Like, dude's gone through.
That's his character. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, it tells you just that much about who she is and maybe like why she's not with Kratos anymore too. You know what I mean? Like, So I like that. I think that's good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one for sure.
I thought the like Rayman Legends Retold looked cool. Like
Looks
it
really
looked
good.
cool, but like,
Yeah.
why are we remaking it? We're making new games, guys. Like make a
Yeah.
new Rayman game.
Yeah, that's
Why are we
it's
remaking Legends?
Ubisoft seems like it's really leaning on the remakes because
Yeah,
one of the
but
other
like
games they
Legends
showed
is
was
still one
Black
of the
Flag, right?
yeah, yes, totally. But like Rayman Legends was still one of the best looking games ever. Like it's not like
Yes, good
it
point.
still looks amazing. Why are we
Yeah.
why are we remaking it? Make something
Yeah.
new. But yeah, the Lost Wild, that like dinosaur survival game
Yep.
looked cool. I have this like I should like register this. I'll mail this episode of the podcast to myself. But I have this like idea for a Jurassic Park game where it starts out as like a park sim. So you're like, it's like Sim City, but you're building a park or whatever.
Sure.
What are those games called? They
I know what. Yeah. I forget
right?
what they're called. There's two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a third one that just came out. I've played it. I can't believe I can't remember the name. But so you're playing one of those, and for the first 2 hours, you're playing a park sim. But of course, everything goes wrong, and the dinos escape. And you have this idea that the dinos escape, and as your like sim game starts to like, you're gonna get game over. You stand up from a desk, and it shifts to first person mode, and you realize you've actually been managing the real park, and now you have to like escape, and it turns into
That's
like a
pretty great.
survival horror game. And this is just like, if you combine those two games, now this is a survival horror version of that game. And dinosaurs with that gameplay just makes so much sense. Like it just
for sure
looks cool. So I'm into that one.
Evolution, by the way, is the name of that series.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
It's funny you say that because as I'm watching it, one of the things that popped into my, I mean, obviously Jurassic Park immediately pops to mind, but one of the first things I thought of was Trespasser.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Jurassic Park Trespasser?
Yes, I do. I don't know that I ever played it, though.
Nobody played it for very long, except for a friend of mine who actually finished it. I don't know how, but he did. But yeah, like it's just like I was watching that game, and it's like, man, I feel like it would be, somebody should try to remake Trespasser as like an actually playable game. And I think it would be interesting. But
can you imagine that? Yeah. That was, interesting. Produced by Seamus Blackley.
Yes, it was.
Austin Grossman was the designer. Interesting.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
Interesting.
It was terrible.
I know. Weird.
Yeah.
We missed that one. We didn't do 1998 on our podcast. We did 97 and reviewed The Lost World on PlayStation. But
well, I mean,
Trespasser.
To be fair, 98 was an amazing year for games. So
yes,
I don't blame you for not touching Trespasser.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're being intentional with where we're sort of putting our deadlines for our seasons. And then there was one other that I thought looked cool. Oh, well, the Tomb Raider remake.
Oh, I'm so excited for the Tomb Raider remake.
I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah,
I think it looks cool. I don't know.
The original Tomb Raider is one of my favorite games of all time. So I'm so anything that's, it's funny because the sequels I can take or leave. Some of them have been really good. A lot of them haven't been. But if you're telling me you're remaking or re-releasing the original Tomb Raider, I will drop everything and play that. So,
and I feel like Tomb Raider, there was the redo or whatever.
It's been remade twice.
Yeah, but like this is just a straight remake, which I think is way. It's funny because I was just saying don't make Rayman Legends again, but like there was just like a campiness and like an earnestness to the original Tomb Raider that I think was missing from like modern parts of the franchise, and like the one where you play young Lara Croft, like cool idea, like let's see how she kind of became who she was, but then like there was like so much ludo narrative dissonance in that game where you like in cutscenes she's like fighting with this idea of like having to kill another human to save herself, but then she lights people on fire with Molotovs.
Nathan Drake problem.
The Nathan Drake problem. Exactly. But the trauma of like killing people was also like part of her narrative, where Nathan Drake was never really like too plussed about it, right?
No, he was Indiana Jones. I mean,
exactly. So I think going back to the original like earnest vibe of Tomb Raider 1, I think could do really good things for the series. We'll see. And like get back to like real strong like puzzle based gameplay and stuff too.
Yes, that was because that was the thing with me was and I mean we're talking way back now. We're talking like 1995 or 6, whenever 97, whenever the first Tomb Raider came out. Because people who weren't around then might not remember this, but the first Tomb Raider was such a huge hit that they were churning out a new game every year for like 5 or 6 years. And you can imagine, I mean, the diminishing returns were real. And one of the ways that manifested itself was the first game, like you said, it was very puzzle heavy, right? It was a 3D Prince of Persia. There was some gunplay, but not a lot until the very end. And it was fine because the gunplay wasn't great, but it didn't need to be because it wasn't a huge focus of the game. But starting with the second game, combat became way more important to the game. And it was never good. So I really, I think I finished Tomb Raider 2 back in the day, and that was it. I should say I finished another one besides that because I did a strategy guide for one of them. But that's one of the reasons why I have such love for the original Tomb Raider and not the subsequent original PlayStation era games. But the first one was mwah.
It's so good, and like using the way it used combat to sort of like punctuate the puzzle based narrative and like create tension when it needed to, instead of the combat being like the focal point, kind of broken up by puzzles. So we'll see.
What else? What else was standing out to you?
I mean,
there were a lot of games shown here.
What else? So that was PlayStation, right? PlayStation State of Play. Summer Game Fest there was some cool stuff. A lot of the time, like one of the reasons I don't watch them live, to be honest, is there's just like a lot of like first person shooter stuff. And you have to sit through all the first person shooter stuff, and then you get like the quick cut indie game stuff. The Master System Cuphead.
Yes.
Holy smokes. Yes. It's an actual Master System game.
Yeah.
Like not just like style.
Oh, is it really?
It's an actual Master System game.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Which is incredible. And I saw somebody dug up like an old Reddit post from one of the devs from like 12 years ago from some like Master System subreddit being like, hey, like, we're working on Cuphead, but what our real dream is to like make an actual functional Master System game.
That's awesome.
And so it's, they're making a Master System game, which is incredible.
So here's a question for you. Because now I'm looking at the Summer Games Fest list as well. I'm curious what you think. How about that Stranger Than Heaven trailer?
Okay, so
this is exactly the response I wanted. Continue.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't played a lot of the Yakuza games. I'm not like the RGG stuff isn't really something I've experienced a lot, and like the last couple of years have not really convinced me to like go back and commit the time to it. This I don't understand what like Tupac.
That's the main thing I'm asking.
Snoop Dogg gave them permission to.
Well, I think it was Snoop Dogg, but it was Tupac's estate.
Sure,
that gave them permission. But yes, I mean that's the reason I was asking, was because obviously now he's not the only deceased actor in that game.
Yeah,
I forget the other. It's a Japanese actor whose name I can't what's his name? Bunta Sugawara.
Okay.
Is also passed away, but like 12 years ago, I think. But he's also in the game.
Right.
But yeah, boy, I just didn't. I mean, I knew Snoop Dogg was in there based on previous trailers.
Yeah.
But it's just like, hey, that's Tupac.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, like maybe some context. You might think the children, they don't yearn for Tupac. There is a kid at my kid's school that wears a Tupac t-shirt like twice a week.
Really?
So I don't know. Maybe that like maybe that era of music's making a comeback. Maybe there is something here that seems silly to a bunch of us millennials and Gen X who listened to Tupac like during his heyday. And now it's like, why are they bringing Tupac back? Like, but maybe there is a renaissance there that we are really familiar with.
There's a whole conversation we could have about that, because music discovery is so much different than it was when we were kids. So I believe that. I know my kids listen to a lot of older hip hop and older music that when I was their age, I wouldn't be caught dead listening to something that old, right?
Yeah. There's this like kid, he's like 17 across the street from my house. He blasts music while working on his big pickup. Like he has a big crappy pickup, but it's all like
live in Alberta?
Lavigne. No,
Avril Lavigne. Wow.
Yeah, it's like it's all the like pop stuff from when I was a teenager. And at first I thought it was just funny, but then he's blasting Carly Rae Jepsen, and yeah, like it's like I was like,
good for him.
Whoa, yeah. I'm like, I don't mind if
you
he
be
plays
you,
his
buddy.
music this loud. Yeah. So I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing was, and again, it's being done with the permission of his estate. There's really nothing else you can ask in that regard.
No.
I still think that you can debate the taste.
Yeah,
whether
Tupac
it's in good taste or not.
I feel like Tupac would have not liked this.
Yeah, who knows?
His
right
opinions on sort of like Anyway.
But I mean, you never know. I mean, I happen to be playing 007 First Light right now, and Lenny Kravitz is one of the main characters in that game.
Really?
So yeah,
I have not played. Really?
Yep. He's one of the main. He's a warlord in that game.
Like straight up, like as himself, or just
no.
Digital
But
actor
he's
or whatever?
he's the actor.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, Lenny Kravitz can't not be himself.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
clearly Lenny Kravitz.
100%.
But anyway,
can you believe they're going and like casting Lenny Kravitz and exhuming Tupac when you and I are right here? Like they could have our likeness in their games, probably for cheap.
And I'm cheap. I mean, I would.
I'm very cheap as well.
Don't fool yourself. Yeah.
But
but I think that's the thing. Is just like I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I feel icky about it, especially because like the devs haven't they haven't really earned a lot of like benefit of the doubt over the last couple of years, I guess. And that's also why it feels a little weird to me, is that like if this was coming from somebody different, maybe I would extend them a little bit more goodwill, but it feels exploitative, which is wild. Speaking of, you were saying Xbox like burning their kind of brand value very quickly. Like how quickly have RGG kind of done the same thing? But,
but I'll say all that. Stranger Than Heaven still does look.
Oh, it looks cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
yeah, I feel the same way, and I will say I thought I noticed how in the presentation they pointed out, and I think in articles they pointed out like we're not using AI to do this.
Yeah,
right. Like there's actually going to be a sound alike actor apparently. So that's good.
That's interesting.
I have sort of even bigger issues with creating virtual puppets of dead actors, but
that was a concern of mine for sure. So that's interesting. I didn't see that they had confirmed that it was going to be like a voice actor. But
I don't know if it's a voice. I'm sorry, I don't know if it's a voice actor. It might just be old recordings of him. I'm not sure exactly.
Oh, okay.
All I know is that it was clearly stated we are not using AI for this. So
right, that's good. I mean, like again, remakes, Resident Evil, Veronica. That's cool. Like I haven't played a lot of the recent Resident Evil remakes, but they've all been pretty neat, I think. Jen Atlas, the new Ueda game, the Eco guy.
So have you played a lot of Ueda's games?
I've played them all to various degrees.
Okay. Because I was a huge fan of Eco. Yeah. I love the idea of Shadow of the Colossus, but I've never really played a lot of Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
And his more recent one where you have that giant
Trico or Last Guardian.
Yeah. I played that for like an hour.
Yeah. Similar for me. But they're more games that I just want to save for when I need something that I know I'm going to like really like.
Sure.
I think. But for me, the fact that he's one of the few people left, I think, who like really fits into that mold of just like, the Kojima style, like auteur who like makes weird games that nobody else could make. Like be allowed to make, I should say, like would never be funded or whatever. And I think that that's just cool. Jen Atlas is weird because it's so different than his other work. And like, I don't know, like emptiness and melancholy and stuff is so intrinsic in what makes his other work so good.
Absolutely.
This looks not that. So, but I think that he's proven himself to be able to make some pretty compelling games. So I'm curious. It's one of the ones from Summer Game Fest that I'm like most interested in following and eventually playing when it comes out.
And it's a 2027 game, I believe, right?
I think so. Yeah,
I think so. I didn't put a date down. Cool. Anything else that stood out to you?
I mean, I want to talk about Final Fantasy VII, but Guild Wars 3, pretty cool. It's like the non-subscription MMO franchise,
right? That's been going
so
a long
buy
time.
It and you just play it. Yeah.
Apparently, there's a good documentary about that.
Is there? Yeah,
one of the Guild Wars games out there somewhere.
Cool.
A friend of mine at work mentioned that to me a couple weeks ago. I haven't gone and looked it up yet.
They're cool. They're like Guild Wars 1 and 2 are cool. Like, you know, you just buy the game, play it. They weird forever. Yeah,
who knew that was a thing you could do?
I know, right? It's like, and in the age where everything is monetized and you know, gas nonsense, the fact that they're announcing Guild Wars 3 and it's the same thing, they're beautiful. Like the art and the world design and stuff has always been fabulous in that series. So that's one I think that, like, you know, I'm in this weird place with Final Fantasy 14 because I've like played through the main story quest and I like to dip into it for a week here and there, but then that requires me to, you know, sub up for a month.
Right.
But then there's the free trial, but because I already have an existing account,
you can't do that.
Free trial that takes you up through like the main story quest plus multiple expansions I can't get in on. So I'm like in this weird stuck area. Whereas like Guild Wars is cool because, like, you know, it's one that I think is going to be pretty good for people who like to play an MMO every once in a while, dabble here and there,
but not turned into a full-time job.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think that that's going to be pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah, and then Final Fantasy VII.
What's the word on that? Revelation.
Yeah, I was hoping it was going to be called. I'd made this joke on Blue Sky, Final Fantasy 17, and they would reveal that it was the next.
Because that's the next
sequel.
one, isn't it?
Yeah,
that would have been
but they
great,
did
actually.
not. They did not do that. Revelation is fine. They kind of wasted Reunion on that weird Crisis Core game. Remake, I guess. Reunion, I think, would have been really fitting. But I mean, it looks so good. I love Remake and I love Rebirth, and this just looks sort of like that culmination of those games.
This is it, right? This is the final Fantasy VII remake.
Yes, that's what they say in the trailer.
Right.
I'm still like, I still consider it a sequel series, like a sequel and a remake. So like, I feel like they could set things up for like more. But like of the like, this is gonna like finish off that Final Fantasy VII remake project. But it does feel like they're setting the stage for
we can get to work on the Final Fantasy remake now.
Yeah, the Final Fantasy VII remake. Yeah, for sure. Somebody was like, great, once they finish this, they can like actually remake Final Fantasy VII.
That would be nice too.
Yeah.
I would like to see them, you know, I mean, the pixel remasters for the first 6 games, and that's great.
Yeah.
I would love to see them not pixel remasters, but to do something similar.
Yeah. Well, they did.
In a similar vein with 6,
the mobile.
7, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
There's the mobile version. Or like Crisis, Ever Crisis, or I can't even remember what it's called, but it's like a full-on like isometric remake of Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
With all the bonus like content from other games, like with the cell phone game and Dirge of Cerberus, like all of that's in there. But it has like, but it's a cell phone, like it's a mobile game with like gotcha and stuff in it. But it's like, anyway, weird.
No thanks.
Strange game.
Yeah.
But they just need to like take all the gotcha out and then figure out a way to get it on my Switch too.
That's great.
But I'm really excited for Revelation. Did you played Remake and Rebirth?
I played Remake and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I tried to play Rebirth and it didn't really do anything for me.
Okay. Yeah. It's different than Remake for sure.
Yeah. You know, what really hit me, I think I really recognized because of Expedition 33.
Yeah.
Is that I just really wanted it to be turn-based.
Right.
And because it wasn't, it didn't do anything for me.
Yeah. I typically like turn-based as well. The Remake and Rebirth, especially Rebirth, I think they make some great changes and
they're
like,
very well done.
Improvements.
Yeah.
But it's the one that mixes sort of like real time and turn-based in a way that actually works for me. Like I don't really care for the Xenoblade games. I really don't care for Final Fantasy 16's combat. Rebirth and stuff especially kind of just got that right balance for me. And Revelation seems like it's taking it one step further. There's like seems like a light job system being introduced, which is great. And I like the way that they just recognize that, like, let's just keep, I don't, for some reason, just like continuing to add on top works for me in this situation.
Sure.
And it looks cool. It almost seems like a little open-ended, the way that they framed like the story, that the weapons are going to be around, and I wonder if you can sort of tackle them in any order. And it seemed really exploration and like open-ended, exploration focused and open-ended, even compared to Rebirth. So I'm curious about it, but it's definitely the game that, of all of these announcements, that's the one for me that I'm most excited for.
So I have to say, you skipped over one that fills that slot for me, which was on the state of play, and that's of course Marvel's Wolverine.
Oh yeah, I'm not interested in Wolverine.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't.
So is it Wolverine in particular, or were you a fan of the Spider-Man games, or?
I didn't. I mean, I've played the Spider-Man games a bit, but not a lot. I'm not big on Marvel. I'm like pretty familiar with Marvel, and I like it.
I mean, it's almost impossible to not to be.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I found the trailers just gratuitous in a way that was not.
Oh, they are gratuitous.
Interesting to me. Like, I don't know. And I get that as Wolverine. Like, I understand. Like, it's just not a game for me, I think, ultimately.
No, I totally get that.
You know, I Canadian representation, I love it. But but yeah, just not a game that's really like keyed for me, I think.
That's fair. No, and I get that. And I will say that I mean, I'm a huge fan of the 3 Spider-Man games that they've done. So this has been on my radar. I love Wolverine. I don't call myself a comic book guy, because I'm not. I love comic book based games and movies and shows and things like that. Don't read a lot of comic books themselves, but it is gory. It's really gory.
Yeah,
but I do think it has to be.
Yeah, I mean, it fits the character. It's
right, and I respect that they went for it. Yeah, because I think I said this. God, I don't remember how long ago they announced Wolverine, but I think I said this on our show back then. Was like, I'm curious how they're going to handle this, because Wolverine is such a violent character.
Yeah, and it's it's important because I think thematically his inability, or his like hyper healing, means that like physical damage isn't like like psychologically isn't a threat to him. So then it's like he's hyper violent. It's like you can't do Wolverine without it, but it's also like gorier than Elden Ring, and I'm just like, I can't play this in front of my kids.
No,
you know,
very true. Very true.
So yeah, it's just I'm sure it'll be good. Like I have no doubt behind it. And stuff. I'm sure it'll be good for what it is and who enjoys it, but just not for me.
And then the other one that was a huge surprise. I did not expect this at all. And I think you guys talked about Stuntman in a previous episode, did you not?
I don't think we talked about
there's another podcast.
Man, Driver, maybe.
Driver,
talking about GTA. It might have been Driver.
So so they announced Stuntman Hollywood.
Yeah. Yes.
So you're talking about Driver. So again, for all the our listenership tends to be a more advanced age, but for those who may not remember, so Driver was a series on the original PlayStation, Driver and Driver 2, done by a developer called Reflections, who had previously to that on the PlayStation, their claim to fame was the Destruction Derby games, especially the launch game. And so Driver was, I don't know how to describe it. It was an open world driving game on the PlayStation 1. Yeah. That was really well done. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was really difficult, but it was really well done.
The training, the license
training, getting out of that damn car park was insane.
But if you haven't, who was it? My Life in Gaming did a great stream where they were just playing Driver, and then they just could not get out of the car park.
I watched some of that. Yeah. Try was good.
Try. It's good.
But so on the PlayStation 2, before they did Driver 3, which came with a bunch of controversy, they did a game called Stuntman. And the whole premise of Stuntman was that, you know, you had the sort of the physics, the reflections physics from Driver pretty much, but you were a stunt driver in various films. They were all made up, although they were pretty, you know, referential. Like
you knew what,
right. Like one was a James Bond movie and one was the Dukes of Hazzard, and, you know, but you basically would be given this course. And it's like, okay, here's what I want you to do. And to go through the course, like you're going to jump through here and you're going to do a loop de loop here and you're going to smash this stuff. And basically it'd say, okay, now go.
Yeah.
And you had to do it in a certain amount of time. You had to hit as many of these things as you had to accomplish as many of these things as you could. And then the coolest part was that if you were successful, they actually spliced in replay footage of your run into trailers for the movie or the show that you'd been doing. Very cool idea. Mixed reviews on that game because much like Driver 1 and 2, especially Driver 1, it was so difficult.
Yeah.
And I actually reviewed that game for EGM and I actually finished it. I went back and played it a couple of years ago and I was like, I don't know how I ever did this. It was so hard. But anyway, not expecting, and I don't know if it had been announced before, but Driver or Stuntman Hollywood got announced in the State of Play. It's the exact same premise, but now it's using real IP, like real properties.
Really?
Like, like there's Back to the Future and
that's cool.
What else? It was a bunch of actual like real existing IP, and I think with licensed cars as well.
Yeah. I assume it's like all millennial bait stuff. It looks like the Knight Rider. Is that the Knight
Rider? Car? That was one of the other ones. Yeah.
I assume it's all millennial bait, but that's
hey,
Gen
I'm
X
here
bait.
for it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm here for it.
Everybody is so hates all the like millennial bait nostalgia stuff in media right now, and I'm like, hook me up.
Oh, hook me up. Yeah.
The universe, they're making
the Furious.
It's like, I don't.
The Fast and the Furious was the other thing that was in the trailer.
Oh, okay.
Well.
Yeah.
Driving the Supra from the Fast and the Furious.
Pretty cool.
I'm all over this. Oh my God. Like I'm so excited. This is not something I knew I wanted.
Yeah. I feel like we just don't get silly, fun games.
Right.
The way that we did like on the PlayStation, especially PlayStation 2, like just like goofy ass games like Stuntman. And it coming back is a good sign for me that
hopefully it's not
I want goofy stuff.
Yeah.
There's no way it'll be as difficult. They don't make big studios don't make hard games anymore, but
that's fair. This is being done by Saber Interactive, and it's coming out when? I don't know that they've said when it's coming out yet. I want to say it's early next year, but I could be wrong. But it's got a Universal license, so I'm assuming these are all Universal adjacent properties.
Yeah.
But,
be cool. Oh yeah. So, Saber's also doing a Jurassic Park survival game.
There you go. Yeah. So
hit me up. Like if I can drive through like Isla Nublar.
Well, it might show up, right? Like that's the thing. They've only shown, I think they showed 4 properties total in that reveal trailer.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't remember what the 4th one was, but there has to be more than that.
There's definitely more coming. Yeah, for sure. Evil Dead. Like I'm just looking at what else Saber's worked on, like Evil Dead. They've worked on, like, you're going to get Ghostbusters. They've worked on a Ghostbusters game. So, like, World War Z, like, you're going to get that kind of stuff, right? And those crossovers.
Also ripe for DLC because of all that, too, right?
Yeah.
So, cool. But anyway, probably the most pleasant surprise on that. And I thought the State of Play was fantastic. There was a lot of really high quality stuff in there. Like, there was the Silent Hill Townfall in there as well. The Onimusha demo, which I have not played.
I'm not either, but Onimusha was quite sweet. The original on PS2, like we played a lot of that.
The reveal of the Knights of Doom team for Tokon Fighting Souls.
I don't know what any of that means.
It's a Marvel-based fighting game.
Okay,
so it's just a few more characters. They revealed Doctor Doom. Green Goblin, Carnage, and
I'm looking at that now.
Magneto. Thank you.
Yeah.
So and Wolverine, of course. So. And then for the Summer Games Fest, I also wanted to call out, you called out pretty much everything that I wanted to mention as well. Although I will say, super excited. I don't know if you're a Telltale Games fan, if you were a Telltale Games fan.
Yeah.
So The Wolf Among Us, one of my favorite Telltale series, is being re-released at the end of this year. And then the long-awaited Wolf Among Us 2 coming out early next year.
By who? Telltale is gone, aren't
Telltale's gone, but I can't remember the name of the developer, but I think they're ex-Telltale people.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I probably should have like watched the whole actual like.
That's a long. It's like 2 or 3 hours long.
It's been a crazy week for me too. But interesting.
And another thing I was so excited about, although it's funny because this is a game I've attempted to play multiple times and I've always had to put down because it freaked me out too much. So Alien Isolation 2, they reviewed as well, which, I mean, Alien Isolation is a masterpiece.
Yeah, is it?
I mean,
I bought it.
Oh my God.
I've been too scared to play it.
See, that's the thing. I struggle with it because it's one of those things where you're being stalked by the alien at all times.
Yeah.
But the thing that blows me away about Alien Isolation, and if you're a fan of the original film, is, oh my God, did they ever recreate that world?
Yeah.
I mean, pitch perfect. Yeah. Right? Like it looks like the first film.
And the first film is just such a visual masterpiece. Like it's so good. And so many films have missed the point of what made Alien incredible. I only watched Alien like 10 years ago for the first time.
Really? My God. And it's one of my favorite films.
Absolutely blown away. I don't like horror. And so I always skipped over it. But I finally watched it. And I was like, this movie is incredible. And the fact that like Isolation seems to understand what made that film so good is nice.
And it looks like with Alien Isolation 2 that, I mean, I don't know if they're on LV-426, but they're clearly on a planet's surface. So the first game takes place in a space station, Sevastopol, I think it's called. But this one, clearly, at least parts of it take place on the surface of a planet that, if it's not LV-426, it's clearly based on LV-426.
But that's Aliens is good, but the fact that it expanded its scope is part of the problem. So hopefully,
and I mean, but that's also one of the things I loved about those, because I was a big James Cameron fan back in the day too. I loved that he took that property, made it a James Cameron film. He wasn't 100%. Trying to make a Ridley Scott film. Yeah, exactly. Totally. So anyway, super excited about that. But again, I've started the first Alien Isolation at least 3 times. And put it down every time because I'm just like, this game is freaking me out too much.
That's why I've never started it, because I always heard the Switch version was really good. Like almost better than the PS4 version. This is really well optimized. So I bought it on Switch on sale, but I've just been too chicken shit to actually start it. It's scary
as hell.
Yeah. I'm looking through the Summer Game Fest list, and there's a game called The Blood of Dawnwalker, but it's not a Final Fantasy IV.
No, it's not. No,
but it even has like a CG fantasy guy that looks sort of like the Final Fantasy 14 guy. Like, I don't know. This one, I feel like they're towing the line here.
It's made by a development group that has some members from the Witcher team.
Okay.
It's a vampire game.
Okay.
It looks good for sure.
Yeah. That's good. I just like that name. Like, that's just straight up anyway, it looks, I assumed when I saw it, it was a Final Fantasy thing, but I was like, wait, didn't they just announce the next expansion for that? But
I have no idea. And then there was 2 more that I wanted to touch on here. There's one, this is again another game that I just learned about probably last week because they did a teaser. So if you've listened to this show for a while, you know that at one point I was a huge Forza Horizon fan. And if you've kept listening, you'll know that I stopped being a Forza Horizon fan after the first 3 games. And the latest one has done nothing to change that opinion. But some ex-Forza Horizon developers have founded a company called Maverick Games. And their first game is this is their first game, is getting ready to come out, I think, early next year. And it's called Clutch. It's an open world racing game. Great. I'm excited about this, but it's so funny because even in that teaser where one of the developers is just talking about the game, when they first announced, it's like, okay, it's an open world racing game set in Monaco and the French Riviera. Okay, cool. talk about these two siblings, Theo and Cass Marshall, competing against rival drivers in the R1K professional circuit. All right, cool. So it's like the whole idea is a story-based professional racing game. I'm with you so far. Really enjoying this idea. Then they say, but then at night, they also take place in an underground racing club known as the Midnight Collective, street racing. All right, cool. Okay. I'm still with you. Right? And then it's like at the end, it's like, oh, and there's crime.
Oh no.
Like, what? Yeah. So there's like part of the story, you're like playing a getaway driver and police chases and stuff. And it's just like, I definitely want to try it because again, I love the idea behind the open world racing game. And these guys are, responsible for some of my favorites. But it's like, oh boy, I feel like you went just one step too far in this.
They Tetsuya Takahashi that one too many systems.
Right, exactly. It's like, oh, okay. So it's like when you were talking about the street racing, it's like, okay, I'm still with you. I'm still with you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, but sometimes you're a getaway driver. And, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe. But anyway, I'm definitely going to be paying attention to it because it's definitely got a lot of potential. So it was founded by Mike Brown, who was the director of Forza Horizon 5.
Okay. Yeah.
Left Playground because he wanted to pursue a project with a different direction from the Horizon series. So I'm down with all that.
Yeah.
So another game now on my radar that wasn't on my radar before, that and Stuntman Hollywood for sure. And then the last game that
I just want to say Two Clutch is a great name.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. And the last game I want to mention from, and man, we're already like an hour and 10 minutes into this episode that I want to mention about, but a lot of games were shown this week.
A lot of games
was, oh God, I lost it. Oh, another one I didn't expect, and maybe it was because I wasn't paying attention. There's a new Virtua Fighter game coming.
Yes, there is.
What a bizarre
looks realistic
trailer.
Or something. Ty was going off on our. So Ty is my co-host, Ty Schultz.
Yeah.
He's the other half of Fun Factor for those who haven't listened. And our most recent episode that we just released last Tuesday, we talked about like popular games that don't work for us, that we just don't really care for. One of Ty's was Street Fighter. Not Street Fighter, Virtua Fighter.
Virtua Fighter. Okay.
So he was kind of going in on how like the idea of, these supposed like hyper realistic quote unquote approximation of like judo and martial arts and fighting matched up with like these super janky 3D graphics just immediately turned him off. But he was a little curious. I think he was a little interested in the leaked Virtua Fighter Crossroads stuff that he saw, because it's like kind of finally catching up to like maybe what he needed for that realism factor. But
well, I mean,
he also really likes Battle Arena Toshinden, so that kind of tells you where his tastes lie.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ty.
That was like learning that they had crime in Clutch. It's I mean, I'm a Virtua Fighter fan from way back.
Yeah.
Being a Sega guy, being a 32X guy, being a Saturn guy.
The
32X guy.
Yes.
Being a Saturn guy, big fan of Virtua Fighter, bigger fan of Virtua Fighter 2. 3 and 4, 3 was okay. 4 and 5 I got more into. I'm not big into fighting games anymore. However, I am interested in them revisiting Virtua Fighter. This is an interesting road they're going down.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it almost I almost want to say like the Yakuza series. Like it looks like it's sort of a light RPG.
It's like,
with fighting.
What was that? Sega Gaga.
God, I wish I would. Yeah. There was that translation. Yeah. And then they had a little bit of fan service at the end of the trailer where Pai-chan shows up and like one of the guys is fanboying out about her, which is great. She was of course one of the original
that's cool.
Fighters in Virtua Fighter, and she had been all through the series. But yeah, wasn't expecting it. Definitely going to pay attention to that one as well. It does look interesting, but
I don't mind them taking these like established brands and sort of branching off, trying something new with it, especially because it's not Virtua Fighter 7 or whatever. And I don't know what the latest Virtua Fighter was, but
be 6,
Street Fighter kind of introduced some like structural RPG-ish stuff, and it seemed like people kind of liked that. So the idea of like giving, and to be honest, like the idea of giving a fighting game more structure is appealing to me. One of the reasons I think I never got into fighting games is because if I wasn't with my friends, playing against each other. I just never really knew how to play fighting games. Like sitting in my room by myself, I'd always rather just play a platformer or an RPG or whatever. I was like, didn't really know how to do. I just do arcade mode over and over again. So giving me some shape to my experience, some guidance, is appealing to me for sure.
I was the same way, because I mean, we were all into fighting games in the 90s. You had to be.
Yeah.
You couldn't not play fighting games in the 90s. And it's funny because in the last couple of weeks, I actually streamed Mortal Kombat 2 for the 32X.
Oh, yeah, excellent.
And it struck me while I was playing that clearly 95% of my experience playing that game back in the 90s was playing multiplayer.
Yeah.
Because I had no recollection of playing through the single player game whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, big into fighting games back then. Haven't been a lapsed fighting game fan. Have been for a long time.
Yeah.
I'll play the Mortal Kombats when they come out. I'll pump it down to easy and play through for the story because I find them very entertaining.
You play it for the story. You read it for the articles. Yeah,
you read it for the articles exactly. So I'm interested in this, but it's an interesting take. For sure. But yeah, so that was, again, we've still got the Nintendo Direct to go. We've still got the Xbox show to go. But that was some of the, dozens of games that were shown over the last week. It's crazy. Yeah. And we didn't even get into the Day of the Dev stuff, which was another lengthy broadcast.
Yeah.
So
I think one thing I'm surprised not to have seen is like a clear obscure, esque title announced, like a trailer for it. That's like very obviously like trying to ride that success. Surprised we didn't see that. I know Clear Obscure was only last year, but I'm like just a CG trailer or something from one of the big developers or one of the, showcased as one of the big games from one of these, publishers.
Like a proof of concept of some sort.
Yeah, exactly. Teaser where it's just like gets you hyped up. Some baguettes and French music.
It's funny because there was a game on Day of the Devs that had the number 33 in the title, and that was the I thought of. Like, are they? But apparently it had been announced before we even knew what Expedition 33 was. But the cynic in me was like, oh my God, are they just trying to capitalize on Clair Obscur? Listen, before we wrap up though, I do want to get in a little bit to what you've been playing, and I'm going to start with you, Aidan. Okay. What have you been playing lately? What have you been playing that you would like to talk about?
Yeah, so two things I want to talk about. I've been playing, three. I've been playing the new Bluey game with my kids, or mostly watching them. It's
nice.
Bluey and the quest for the golden crayon or something. Okay. It's really good. The first Bluey game was not good. This one is good. It's like a light kind of like isometric platformer exploration game. Not something that I think somebody who doesn't have kids should go out and pick up, but it's nice to see a game that like is challenging for my kids. It doesn't treat them like, they need hand holding. Right. I like, to be honest, I've seen them getting madder and more frustrated and at this game because of its challenges than like Kirby or Mario or whatever.
Really?
And that's because I think they're letting the kids fail. There's no fail state. You don't lose lives, but like they put challenging-ish platform sections that you just fall and you die and you have to start over. And that's not something my kids experience a lot in games these days. And I think that's been really good. So that one is cool. I've been playing Mina the Hollower, which I really
I've got to play this.
I'm a big Link's Awakening fan. Like Link's Awakening is like top 5, top 3 game of all time for me.
I remember in a recent episode you were going through the EGM 150 and you were very offended by the fact that Awakening
it's like 37 or something. Yeah, it was on the list for sure, but it was like way too low for sure. Big fan of Link's Awakening. And so like Mina is cool because it kind of looks like Link's Awakening. Obviously takes cues from that game visually and the fact that it's set on an island and all this kind of stuff. But it mixes in so many different influences and mashes them up in like really interesting ways. It has like, it takes the Metroidvania Zelda style gameplay, but then it takes Hollow Knight's charm system and has trinkets that you can mix and match. It has like sub weapon system from Castlevania. complete with its own like, resource that you need to collect, and more powerful ones take more, less
Okay.
powerful ones take less. So managing that. It has, Dark Souls style. They're called underlabs, but they're like the bonfires in Dark Souls. So they're a
Mhm.
place that's like a safe haven. You can level up there. You can swap out your trinkets. You can you do all of that kind of stuff. You get healed up, but when you get healed up, or when you go into an underlab, it resets all the monsters and stuff. And then if you die, you lose your bones, which are the equivalent of souls, like your experience.
Okay.
And then you have to go back and get it. So like Dark Souls style progression in that way. And it takes all of these like disparate sort of like semi-overlapping series. Like all those series are in conversation with each other, but Mina kind of picks and chooses some of them. And it sounds like it shouldn't work, but it does. Like for me, at least, it really does. But ultimately, what I think is really cool about it is it has this modifier system built into the menu, and it's completely opt-in. There's like 200 different modifiers in the game. Some of them you can like swap them on. You can put on assist mode, and it turns on a bunch of them just to make the game easier.
Okay.
But they also get like hyper specific. And so the healing system in the game uses these vials, and you like fill them by attacking enemy, or you fill the vials by attacking enemies. And then when
Mhm.
you use them, it like heals you more depending on how aggressive you've been. You can also fill them by finding roses in the overworld, which are like hearts, but they don't heal you typically unless you turn in a modifier on. And then when you pick up roses in the overworld, they'll heal you just like hearts in Zelda.
Okay.
You can turn off the sub weapon system if you don't like it. If you want to make it like more Souls like, you can bump up, the damage that you take, or make it so that you can't level up. So you could do like Souls level 1 style run. So like
Oh wow.
it has all these modifiers that like in theory are like can make the game easier or harder, but they also almost let you like pull the game more towards or away from some of those inspirations. Like you can make the game less Souls like if you just want a Zelda experience. You can make the game less Zelda like if you just want something that's closer to
Interesting.
Souls. And I think that's a really interesting way of kind of creating player agency, as long as making it more accessible to a lot of players. It's good. It's
It's
cool.
cool because that means that, boy, no two people's experience will necessarily be the same
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
game.
If you, once you dive in those modifiers, like every experience is different. Like you can double Mina's
Interesting.
walking speed, or you can like, you can do all sorts of things. You can make it so that you lose a level every time you fail to get your bones back.
Wow.
So yeah, like it can really make the experience so different from everybody. And so like, I played a couple hours, and there are a few things that I felt like just weren't really working for me. So I turned on a couple modifiers. Like warp, you can turn on an optional modifier to be able to warp back to the hub from
Okay.
wherever. And it's like I just sometimes like I need to just save, right? I've got
Yeah.
kids. They want
Yeah.
to use
Yeah.
a Switch or whatever. I need to just save. I can just warp back to the town and just like save, power up. And like that kind of stuff just takes the edge off for me.
Nice.
Without making it super easy. And so it's like I found this good balance that just makes the game sing. And I think that that's just a cool way to do accessibility. Really like it. You'll probably hear a lot about like everybody was gushing over it, and then everybody was like, "Oh wait, this is actually like really hard." Or there's a lot of these run backs that I really hate. Like I keep dying against this boss, and then the run back's really
Hmm.
hard. And it's like, well, you can turn on a modifier that puts a spawn point, like a checkpoint right before every boss. So if you don't like run
Okay.
backs, turn them off. Just so that kind of stuff. I think is just like I think the game will like find broad appeal. It's an interesting take on like is Hollow Knight, is Silk Song too hard? And I think Silk
Sure.
Song would have benefited from like I just beat Hollow Knight and I loved it, and I'm like Silk Song seems too hard. Like
And that's a really good example, because that's one of the things that I think, I know for me personally, keeps me from diving into some of these games,
yeah,
because sometimes I
100%.
don't want a massive challenge. I
Yeah,
want to enjoy myself. Not
yeah,
always. Sometimes I do
no,
want a really big challenge, but
yeah,
not always, right?
yeah,
So
exactly. Sometimes I want to play a game that challenges me and then I really need to focus on, and I'll
yeah,
grab a Souls game, or I'll play Bloodborne or Hollow Knight, and that's great. Other times I don't want that. I just want to explore a world or whatever. And
right.
I think Mina, if you're willing to let it, can sort of like fit into like whatever play style you want.
Sure.
So yeah, excellent, very cool game. Then the second thing, oh, is
Oh,
I got
we're
a
reaching for
super
props.
station. Yeah,
Oh yes, the super
I got
station.
my super station. So it's
Yes.
basically like from a retro remake. It's basically a consoleized Mister Pi FPGA console, and so I have a lot of old systems hooked up to my TVs upstairs and stuff, but I haven't been able to like stream a lot of them. I don't have like an upscaler so that I could attach them to my capture card. So now like the Mister basically plays everything from the PlayStation Saturn era backwards. Because it's FPGA, yeah, I mean, that's a whole other episode going into like FPGA, but basically, it's given me access to being able to play like so many of my games on my computer so I can stream, or importantly, like we do a video version of Fun Factor with a lot of gameplay footage. And so I'm able to like any of those games that are PlayStation era backwards, I can load up, I can capture footage myself for use in the show. And it's just been really fabulous. And so I have it like it's hooked up at my desk. So it streams via digital HDMI to my capture card on my computer at like 1440p. And it's also goes to my CRT monitor off to the side. So I can capture footage while I play a game on my monitor in kind of optical or analog output. And so it's just like, it's just a really beautifully designed little piece of hardware.
So does it do analog output natively on the hard? Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, the SuperStation does. So that's like an extra, like if you're building your own Mister, like you kind of have to like either get an analog IO board as an add-on, but then if you have that, I think you then can't do dual RAM, so it's like a trade-off. Or you can like there's there are ways around it, but this one just has everything sort of out of the box. And so this has component inputs, it has S-video inputs, it has your regular RCA inputs, it has VGA, it has like everything. And so it can do analog out of the box, and it can do dual digital and analog at the exact same time. It's cool. It's very cool. And it's like $240 or $225 or something like that US. So it cost me a little bit extra because of import fees and all that kind of stuff. It's closer to 400, but it's like, yeah, just an awesome piece of tech that just allowed me to access so many of my games in a way that's so useful and fun for me, like to be able to mess around with.
And I hear it plays Lynx games pretty well.
It plays Lynx games, unfortunately. What was that, karate or Viking kid?
Viking child.
So I did a stream. It's on YouTube, and Greg unfortunately stopped by chat and told me to play Viking Child and some other puzzle game that gave me a headache immediately.
Clax, I could not believe you'd never heard of.
It's funny. It's really funny you say that, because after that stream, I was watching a My Life in Gaming video on Mister. It's like 2.5 hours long. It's fabulous. But then there was like footage of Clax. I was like, hey, that's that game Greg made me play. But
it's the quintessential non-Tetris puzzle game from the 90s.
I guess. I don't know. But it does like Jaguar. So like the single RAM Jaguar core was just added to the main branch. So I can like emulate Jaguar games, 32X games,
just
CDI.
great.
I was playing what is it?
Zelda's Adventure. Gamelon. Yeah,
I was playing Zelda's Adventure.
Zelda's Adventure. Right.
So like all these games that I've just never had access to, which I have, of course, legally acquired on my own and dumped.
Of course,
onto my computer. Via.
We don't want Philips missing out on that sale.
No, of course not. So all, of course, legally acquired games. But yeah, really cool. And just like the fact, just being able to like not have to mess around with emulators. Like I am on a Mac trying to play N64 games on an emulator, and it felt awful. And I was playing GoldenEye for a stream. I was like, this game feels worse than I remember. But then I went and played it on my original hardware, and I was like, oh no, that was just the emulator. It just was not running it correctly. Whereas like with FPGA, because there's this huge community of developers behind it, you have these FPGA cores that are almost cycle accurate. It's just like, it's magical. And the fact that this little tiny PlayStation PS1 looking box perfectly plays every system is just incredible stuff. So yeah, just been messing around with a lot of old retro games and systems that I haven't played a lot of. I got this cool 8-bit do like controller too for games.
I'm there.
It's so good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
One of the best controllers you'll be able to buy.
Even my 7-year-old came in and was like, "Ooh, that's nice." Picked it up and she was like, "Can you get me one of these for the Switch?"
Oh
She was
my
like,
God.
"This just feels so good." And I was like,
It does.
"Yeah, I can get you a Sega Saturn style controller for a Switch."
I need to buy a few more of them.
But yeah, and I mean the fact that I can get all these controllers now, I can play Nintendo 64 with, I have the Nintendo Switch N64 Bluetooth controller and playing like with that,
one of those too.
But and then you also have snack support, which right now I can hook my regular, like my old school, like PS2 controller, like the one that plugs into the PlayStation 2, right into the Super Station and play PlayStation games with it.
That's fantastic.
And with the dock, there's an add-on dock that's starting to ship out. It's an extra $45, but it has disc support eventually. I don't think disc support is there yet, but it has more snack ports, so you can like hook up like basically any snack compatible controller. So you hook up your original N64 controllers if you wanted to do that for some reason. Super Nintendo controllers, original Genesis controllers, like your OG Saturn pad, like anything. You do need the converters, like the adapters, but just cool. Just like, it's like those mini consoles that all the companies released over, the past decade, but like all of them in one, and the most perfect like emulation you can possibly imagine. And like I have it hooked up to my home NAS, so I store all my games on my NAS, like my network attached storage. And I can just like drag and drop stuff onto there. It's like I have Wi-Fi, or I have control over my phone, so I can like change settings on my phone. It's just like, it's just wild. Awesome. Absolutely wild.
Truly living in the future.
Playing a lot of that. Playing Illusion of Gaia these days is a retranslation patch of Illusion of Gaia that I've been streaming. So yeah, anyway, Superstation, Bluey, and Mina the Hollower. Those are the big ones for me right now.
So I have a couple games that I wanted to touch on real quick too. Yeah. Before we wrap up here. One is I've been playing more 007 First Light.
Yeah.
Which, man, I'm telling you, considering I wasn't even really thinking about playing this game.
That's where I was at. I had no interest in it. Now everybody talking about it, I'm like, maybe I need to get this.
God, it's good. It's so, I mean, it's, I hate doing this. We were actively discouraged from writing phrases like this when we were at the magazine. But if you like James Bond,
yeah.
But seriously, like I'm a Bond fan. Not a Hitman fan at all.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I like Bond, but I don't really care for Hitman.
Right. So I was like, okay, this is a Hitman game with a Bond license, is what I thought was going to be.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to play it. And because there's too many other games. There are too many other games out there right now. Like, as an example, Mina the Hollower, I definitely want to play, but I'm not, because there are just too many other games right now.
Yeah.
And CJ actually talked me into trying it anyway.
Yeah.
And it was purchased with show funds. That's kind of how we got around me not spending $100 on a game I wasn't sure I wanted to play.
Yeah.
And I am absolutely hooked.
Yeah.
I'm getting pretty deep into it now. It's a great it's a new origin tale for the James Bond character.
Yeah.
It is a little Hitman-y, but not heavily.
Yeah. I've heard that it's like a new, fresh take on Bond, which I think is great. Like, Daniel Craig's take on Bond was so fabulous and so unexpected and so perfect. However, I mean, that was 15 years ago now, probably. That like,
it was more than that.
They're looking for the next Bond or whatever. And it's like, then there's this game that seems to have kind of found a new take on Bond that a lot of people really like. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, it does. It is. And I keep getting surprised by the very natural feeling options you have to infiltrate the areas you're in. The latest mission I'm in like this big art gala and trying to get to this restricted area. And there are just so many ways you can do it.
Yeah.
So many, brute forcing it is a way you can go.
Yeah.
But there are just so many different threads you can kind of pull at, whether it's like, impersonate a guard or impersonate a member of the press, as an example, and finding or stealing a camera and just, I will say that I'm kind of embarrassed at the amount of times, and I'm in a section of this right now. I just finished a boss fight and I need to go to a new area and there's a door that's locked. I don't have the slightest clue how to get through that door.
That's why you're not James Bond.
Right.
That's why you're a podcast host and not an international spy.
Yeah, exactly. So, there are moments like that. So and the boss himself, actually, the way you had to fight him, it took me a while to figure out what it wanted me to do. So it's not perfect. Yeah. There are definitely moments where I'm like, oh, it didn't really telegraph what it was expecting of me there. Yeah. For better or worse, but still really enjoying it. And I will say the combat isn't as gratifying. Like the way it almost wants to have combat that's similar to like the Batman Arkham games. It feels like that would make much more sense. Obviously he doesn't have all that. Well, James Bond does have gadgets, but the combat I find devolves into a lot of parrying blows.
Right.
And when you're surrounded by enemies, which happens frequently if you decide to go that route, it's not necessarily always up to the task, the mechanics. So it's got a couple rough edges, much like Bond himself.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, still really enjoying it though. And I've sort of forsaken all of the games that I was playing leading up to this because I am so hooked on this one.
Yeah, that's what happened with Mina. I'm in the middle of a couple other games, and I started playing Mina for a piece I'm working on for a website, and then I just didn't stop after I played it enough to inform my piece. You said, and there was a second one you were saying too.
Yeah, so another one of the games, and a few different demos came out this week, but another one of the games that was actually shown again on Day of the Devs that I'd actually forgotten about until they showed it was a game called Screenbound. So this is it's a 3D platformer, but in it you are holding what's essentially a Game Boy.
Yeah.
And it looks back when they announced it ages ago, it looked really interesting. Yeah. And so anyway, they've released a demo.
Yeah.
And I fired it up today. And so the whole thing is, yes, you're moving through this world in 3 dimensions. Yeah. But you're also on this little Game Boy like portable system you're holding in front of you is a 2D platformer representation of the world you're in.
Yeah.
And so the whole hook here is that there are things that you can see on that Game Boy screen that you can't see in the world you're in.
Okay. It's like 3 Ninjas.
Yeah. and there are rooms you can go into that are only in 2D, that are played only on the screen. Like you're moving between dimensions is basically what the narrator is telling you. Yeah. And like you can use it's almost like a Game Boy Horror from Luigi's Mansion where you can use it to look through it to see things that are hidden in the world and that sort of thing.
Right.
It's really different. I mean, I've never played anything like it. It's got really basic mechanics, really basic platforming mechanics that I'm digging a lot. It looks really nice, and it's not that confusing, which is what I was worried about.
The screenshots look confusing to me, even though the concept is interesting.
Right, and even if you watch video of it, it looks like I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's funny to me because the trailer that they showed in Day of the Devs. The developers went out of their way to say, it harkens back to those old 16-bit games we loved or something along those lines. And it's like, okay, from watching the trailer, it's clear when you say the 16-bit games you loved, you're talking about Super Mario World and The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Because apparently later they showed this in the trailer and maybe the demo has some of this. There's a little bit of overhead adventuring.
Okay. Interesting. Well. Yeah.
So I recommend giving it a try. It's on I think the demo is only on Steam.
Yeah.
So I don't know how accessible that'll be to everybody, but it's way more playable than I expected.
I'm glad to hear that because I love the concept. Like as soon as I saw the first like announcement trailer for it, it's like it's so up my alley.
Yeah.
But it's something that could look really cool and then not play very well. So I'm glad to hear like good impressions of it there.
Right. Now, my not concerned, but the thing that I wonder about is how long that mechanic will stay feeling fresh.
Yeah.
because
That's always
it does add a layer of complexity to navigation that is cool in like the 3 levels that I've played so far in the demo. It's it feels unique, it feels fresh.
Yeah.
But it adds a layer of friction to moving through the world that wouldn't normally be there.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, how long is the game? How much are they going to switch this up? How long will this feel fresh?
Yeah.
Right.
And like, if the level design and the pacing within sort of the actual gameplay is good enough, great. Like Super Mario Brothers doesn't change, like it, it has its gimmick and it's just great level design, right? And so like as long as it's like not relying too heavily on its gimmick to like wow people into looking past sort of shortcomings, I think that's where sort of the magic happens.
Precisely. Yeah.
That's cool.
So, but either way, I mean the demo's out there, and I do highly recommend giving it a shot, especially if you are a fan of sort of Mario World and or Zelda. It's worth trying out.
Cool, good stuff. I don't have a Windows machine, so I can never try.
You're kind of screwed there.
Yeah, I was gonna buy a Steam Deck or equivalent, but
well, you missed the boat on that one.
Yeah, I don't want to take out another mortgage.
Find a used one. That's what I did.
I was looking around. Yeah, my friend has one that he never uses, and he actually lent me his for a few months to test out. And I was like, yeah, okay, this seems to like fit what I need to play a lot of these demos, these indie games, stuff like that didn't hit consoles. But then he wanted it back, and then the prices went up.
Yeah, and everyone knows what they've got now. So
yeah, exactly. Yep, for sure.
All right,
we've got some Blue Sky questions.
Do we?
Yeah, we got a couple.
Okay. What have we got?
I actually have some thoughts on
okay.
Two of them.
Let's go find them here. I don't know.
Yeah, I've got them up here.
Okay, good. You know what? You take over.
So first up, we have Darren Hupke, who's a good friend of the show, the Fun Factor show. Great guy, Pixels and Polygons. .net on Blue Sky says fun collaboration. How long until someone mentions Lunar? Amazing that we have not talked about Lunar.
Well, there was so much else to talk about.
Yeah, we are 2 people who have written about Lunar for EGM. I actually wrote a big feature for the web version or web revival of EGM. Yes, it's my one EGM credit that I cling to.
Nice.
And I will take to my grave. But yeah, fabulous series. We should do a show just about Lunar at some point.
I would be all over that because I have very strong opinions about that game and also the people who brought that game here. And I did listen to you in I forget what episode it was, but I believe you brought up Dragon Song.
Yes,
at one point, and just horrified Ty with your description of the game.
Yes,
and I just remember listening to it in my car and nodding so hard I almost drove off the road. Like, boy, that game was just a total travesty.
Trauma, like Dragon Song almost turned me into Kratos.
Yeah.
For sure.
We should do that though. Let's do a Lunar episode someday.
Let's do it. I would love to do that. One of the cool things about Mister is they have like the unworked designs versions of Lunar, so you can play the Saturn version in English without all the gameplay tweaks.
That's how I've been playing Silver Star Story Complete on Twitch.
Sorry, the PlayStation version with the original Saturn balancing, which is a much better game. Then we have another question. Froyog Softser. I get it now. I get it now. Is it cool I wanted to touch on this because I was talking about Mina and the modifiers. Is it cool to punish users who need the accessibility settings by shutting off trophies? Because Mina the Hollower touted accessibility, but gamers who need the options get locked out of trophies. It felt backhanded and incredibly disappointing. Shame on Yacht Club Games. It sucks. And it is bad, and I don't think anybody should be locked out of trophies. Trophies are a personal achievement, and if you achieve them in a way that is comfortable for you, that is all that matters. It's not a competition. The idea that I should give any sorts of shits about how somebody else got it outside of hacking, I guess. But I also, my guess is that it was probably a platform holder decision. It's because it's not unusual.
That's a good point.
For trophies to get turned off if you have modifier systems. And so my guess is one of the platform holders, Microsoft or Sony, Probably not Steam. And of course, Nintendo doesn't have trophies, but one of them probably said, if you want modifiers, you can't get trophies with them on.
That's
and then
a really good
would have
point.
just had to, make that consistent across the 3 platforms. So my guess is that it's not a Yacht Club Games decision, but I don't know that for sure. That's just.
But yeah, that I just want to echo that because I agree. Echo that for Froyog as well. Is that you shouldn't be locked out of getting trophies because again, it's nobody's business how you got them. Who cares? We're here to have fun. Games are fun.
Exactly.
And fun means different things to different people. Fun could mean playing a Souls-like. That's fun for you. Maybe not for me, but yes, I agree. You shouldn't only get trophies because you decide to play a Souls-like and not play it the way you want to.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And
totally true.
I would love to be able to move on from recognizing accessibility options. And that means like accessibility options for people who are, non-ambulatory or have, physical disabilities that stop them from being able to play games the same way, or sight disabilities, hearing disabilities, but also accessibility in terms of some people like cognitively can't handle hard games or don't like that. And accessibility, I think, is a Venn diagram of many overlapping areas, and we should accept that all of those are valid.
I love that we're living in a time now where we call these accessibility features because that's what they are, as opposed to easy mode.
Yeah, exactly.
Because and I mean, I don't know about you. I'm in my sort of circle. I don't have anyone who needs accessibility features because of any sort of physical limitation or anything like that. But I love that they exist. Like, it's such a different experience turning on any modern game that's worth a damn and sifting through all these accessibility options. And it's like, I could see as someone who doesn't need them, that could be annoying, but I love that they exist.
Yeah, 100%. I just want everybody to enjoy games.
Right.
In the way that works best for them. Bottom line, games are here so that we can enjoy them as an art form and a creative medium, and everybody should be able to do that.
Everybody should be able to do that
in any way for doing it the way that they want to.
Agreed. Cool. Yeah, those were the 2 main Blue Skies that we had. So we didn't sing the song, but that's okay. Listen, we're pushing 2 hours here. So I'm going to wrap up. That is our show for this week. Thank you so much for listening. I don't remember what CJ says here, so I'm just going to skip right to what I say. If you would like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting playeronepodcast.com. It's shiny and new, or by loading up your favorite podcast listening app. We're also on Spotify. You can like us on Facebook. You can watch video archives of our show on youtube.com/P1 Podcast, or you can watch us live most weeks on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Just follow our Blue Sky account to find out when we're doing our next live show. Typically, it's every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Although, of course, we changed up this week because CJ's traveling and I am traveling tomorrow. So, but hey, that's normally when we record. So please join us. Also, if you want to chat with members of our wonderful community, you can do so by heading over to our Discord channel, where we chat about this show and pretty much anything else we want. Talk about E3 2026. You can jump into the racing channel. You can join our racing league if you want. We got lots of stuff going on over there. And if you like what you heard, and how could you can head over to patreon.com/P1 Podcast. Throw a few shekels our way. It helps us keep the lights on and do all the stuff we normally do. If you're a subscriber of the $5 tier, you gain special access to a weekly bonus episode, except for this week, just because I don't have the time this week. But normally we record it live right after the regular show, where we play games, we crack wise, do all the stuff we can't do on the regular show. That's not true, but Phil said that for years, and we keep going. And if you have a few bucks left over, please consider supporting me on patreon.com/Craig Stewart. $3 gets you early access to every video I produce, which I will admit is not that frequent, but I think they're worth the wait. That's just my opinion. CJ, wherever you are, if you're listening, I hope you're feeling better. I hope you're enjoying your trip. Aidan, where can people find you on the internet?
Right. I will. So you read CJ's part. I will read Ty's part. Ty does most of the hosting stuff for our show. And so Ty says, and that's my appearance on Player One Podcast. Did I get it right? I'm having to adapt this on the fly. Leave a review at Apple Podcasts. Post it as a comment on YouTube. I'm kidding. Funfactorpod.com is a place to get everything about the show. Like Greg said at the beginning, we're a podcast and video show on YouTube about two old gamers who review old video game magazine reviews. We publish every 2 weeks, and we have bonus episodes as well. Our most recent episode looked at Game Informer number 105. So we flip through Game Informer 105. We talk about the magazine and its place in the industry, what was going on in games media at that time, kind of contextualize it against what's happening now. And then we always focus on one game and one review. So we looked at Final Fantasy X and the review in Game Informer of that. And we read through it. We're both critics. I have a long history as a book critic and a games writer, and so we go through it and talk about it as a piece of criticism, and then we give it a review score, because you got to score everything. We got to get on OpenCritic. But yeah, funfactorpod.com. You can find us on Blue Sky. You can find us on YouTube, and I stream on Twitch and YouTube fairly regularly.
Sometimes Lynx games.
Yeah, sometimes Lynx games, sometimes CDI games, sometimes. I mean, I want to do a whole Jaguar stream, maybe a whole 32X stream. I tried to play Knuckles Chaotix once, I did not know what was happening.
As a dyed-in-the-wool Sonic fan, no.
Yeah,
I'm not a Knuckles Chaotix.
And I am whatever the opposite of a dyed-in-the-wool Sonic fan is. That's me. So Knuckles Chaotix was even. I didn't even have the warm fuzzies of playing a new Sonic game. No, but yeah. So a lot of old games. But find us at funfactorpod.com.
All right. And hey, thank you so much for joining me this week. It was great. I love chatting with both of you guys, but it was lovely to have you on the show.
Thanks.
That you wanted to sit here and chat about E3 2026 for 2 hours.
Anytime. Love it. Like I said, I talk a lot about old games. We talk about new games on our podcast too when it's relevant, but I always like a chance to get to talk about what's going on in games media and games, the games industry and video games right now. It's good stuff. Thanks.
Right on. And thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in. Really do appreciate you and your support. We have a wonderful community, and thankful for that all the time. Hope to see you again next week. Thank you so much for listening, and goodbye.